Good morning to a brand new day. Time to learn and games to play. Learning things is so much fun. Learning is good for everyone.
Good morning, fabulous first grade. It is Thankful Thursday. I'm thankful because I'm here with you. Welcome back to our PBS classroom. I'm Mrs. Hammock, and I am your first grade teacher. I'm here to help you practice all the things you need to know to be excellent readers and writers. I'm so glad you're here today. Hey, all this month is the celebration of African American history. And so I've been picking out some books to share with you, and I was just wondering if you know who Garrett Morgan is. No? I'm going to tell you that you have seen something that he invented almost every day, I bet. He invented the stoplight. Isn't that cool? This story is all about African American inventors and the things that they've invented that make our everyday lives so much better. You might want to read more about what some of those inventions were and who invented them. If you'd like to know more about some of those things, you can look for this book on Sora or at your county public library. It's Have You Thanked an Inventor Today by Patrice Mallaren. I hope you'll find it and read and learn about it. And then I hope that you write to me and tell me about it. Write me a letter right here at our studio, and I will send you I'll write back to you, and I'll send you one of our fun activity books for free. Just send me a letter. Make sure you include your address. You could even send an email if that's easier. I hope I hear from you, and I want to know what you're learning. Hey, let's check and see who our number 2 school is on our top 5 Sora checkout. You ready to see? All right, let's take a look. Here we go. Turner Tigers. Way to go, Turner Tigers. Oop, I'm having trouble with this. There we go. All right, great job, Turner. Terrific, you are in the number 2 spot. Keep up that good reading. All right, boys and girls, it's time for us to train our ears for sound. That's right. We are going to play an phoneme identification game. We've played this before. I think you'll recognize it. So it'll go like this. I'm going to tell you 3 words. I want you to tell me what is the same sound in all 3 of those words. So get your detective ears on. Ready? Here we go. Queen, peel, seat. What do you hear that's the same in all 3 words? That's right, the E sound. Queen, P-E-eel, and C-E eat. Great job. How about be, she, he? That's an easy one. Did you hear the E sound in all of them? Good for you. How about raid, plane, case? That's right, I heard it too. That's the long A sound. How about shape, sheep, and show? Oh, you're right, I didn't pick a middle sound. This time I picked sh, the digraph sound of shh for SH. Great job. All right, it's time for us to practice our fluency. Remember, these are the sounds we've already spent time practicing and learning, and if you don't know them, I want you to write down the ones you don't know so you can practice. Here we go. PH says f. CH says ch. SH says sh. WH says hua. TCH says ch. TH says f. Last week we learned that AY says A, and AI says A. We also know that A consonant E says A. I consonant E says I. O consonant E says O. U consonant E says U. And E consonant E says E. And that E sound is the one we're working on this week. We're using the EA, EE, E, and IE spelling patterns. So let's review and say it with me, will you? Terrific. EA says E, like seal. EE says E, like feel. E says E, like me. And IE says E, like believe. Good job. All right, I have a word on our chart on our pocket chart for you to help me with. We're gonna sound it out and then we're gonna build some more. You ready? Okay. What's this first sound? S. Good job. And then what does EA say? EA says E. Here we go. S, E, C. Great. This kind of sea is like the ocean. It's another name for an ocean or a large body of water. All right, let's see if we can change C to seat. What do we need to do? S, E, T. Right. We need to add an ending sound. Seat. Good job. What if I want to change seat to neat? Oh, I got to change that one. All right, what am I going to use? What says N? That's right, it's the N. Eat. Neat. Terrific. What if I want to change it to make it say heat? Heat. Right, I just changed the beginning sound. Heat. So seat, neat, heat. Do you see all the words you can spell when you learn the spelling pattern? That's why we practice, so that you'll learn the pattern and then lots of words that you can write that go with that pattern. Today I have a story for us, and you're gonna have to use your good detective eyes because we're going to read the story and then we're gonna look for some words with those E spelling patterns. Do you think you can help me? Awesome. Here we go. Okay, this story is called Pete's Street. We can see a big tree on Pete's street. We can hear a sweet tune, peep, peep. We can hear bees, buzz, buzz. We can keep a log of what we see. Oh, I think that's supposed to say what we see and hear each day. I forgot the word and. Sorry about that. All right, did you see some E spelling patterns that we've been working on? Let me get a pen real quick and let's find them. All right. We know that this is a spelling pattern that we've already learned, right? E consonant E. And it says the E sound. But for this week, we've been working on, yes, E says E. We learned that the E all by itself at the end says E. There's C and tree and street. There's Pete again. Here's the word here and sweet. And what are the birds saying in this story? Right, peep, peep. Here's that we again. We can hear bees. Oh, look at that. Now remember, we added the S because it's more than one bee. Buzz, buzz. We can keep a log of what we see and hear each day. Wow! Wow! Look at all of the words using that spelling pattern we've been practicing all week. That is incredible. Do you see why it's important to learn that? Because if you didn't know that E says E, or that EA says E, or that E says E, you would really have trouble reading this great story. I'm so glad you're learning with me so that you can be the best reader and writer. All right, let's take a look at 2 of our high frequency words. Okay, today we're going to work on the word other. Say that with me, other, and let's spell it. O-T-H-E-R, other. Great. All right, let's take a look at this word. This word is small. Say it with me. Small. S-M-A-L-L. Small. Good. All right, now I have 2 sentences, and you're going to help me figure out which word goes in the sentence to make it make sense. Here we go. My dog is very other or small? I like the book better. I like the small book better or other? Which one? Okay, my dog is very, what'd you think? Small, good, I heard you shout it out. That's right, my dog is very small. And I like the other book better. Great job. You did that really well. Let's read really quickly the other words. Let's start today with small, other, because, blue, or, and into. Terrific. All right, we have one last thing to do together. We're going to talk about our prefixes. Remember, that's a word part, a part of a word that you add to the front of another word, and it changes the meaning. We have been learning 3 this week. Re, which means again. Un, which means not, or the opposite of. And pre, which means before. I have 2 sentences, and I want you to help me figure out which prefix I'm going to use. Are you ready? Okay. The room is not clean. So if I want to say it's not clean, which prefix would I use? Do you remember? That's right. I would use un, and I would say the room is unclean. Great. I will use the bag again. Do you remember which one means to use again? Right, to reuse. You're getting the hang of this. Great job. That's all the time we have today. Will you sing with me? Goodbye now, the clock says we're done. I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye, everyone. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.